The Music Retail Show.
All right, man, we are here with another episode with good friends of ours.
Yes.
Actually, really good friends of ours. They're from way, 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 way out of town, but yet I feel like sometimes they're here all the time.
I think they're here all the time because they like Tennessee.
In fact, actually, I think they do more of the Nashville stuff than I do, and I've lived here for 17 years.
Yeah. It's an easy place to like here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us who we got.
Absolutely. We got Glen and Terry from Taylor Guitars.
Yep.
And guys, welcome.
Hey,
So
great
Glen,
to be here.
Yeah,
great
Glen,
to be back.
you were here
Loving
almost a year ago.
Yeah,
And you talked about hydration.
we
and,
did. The Yumi talk.
That's right.
Yeah, and we had a great response from that. We had a lot of dealers that were talking about it, going back and listening to it. And since we've referred a lot of dealers to that podcast, so thank you for doing that. That was a great educational thing that I think a lot of times music store owners and people who own guitars don't pay enough to hydration. You explained that. You did a good job with it. And like I said, we use it a lot here, so that was awesome.
And I've had a ton of dealers that have referenced that episode. So, just as
even to their customers, right?
Yeah, that's right. Just accountability, realizing what they have to do. And I actually have a friend of mine who he likes the podcast not because he's selling guitars. He just thinks it's a good business podcast. And he went out and bought a humidifier for his guitar after listening to you talk.
Wow.
So man.
Well, if we save one guitar, it's
if
all
we
worth
save
it.
one guitar,
it's all worth it.
Yeah.
It's all worth it.
Glad to hear that. That's awesome.
No, that's very cool.
So, what are you guys doing in town?
Oh, we're as much as we can. We always love coming to Nashville. We've got an artist office over at Soundcheck. So we were hanging there most of the week, working with our artist rep there who does some guitar work. So we're getting them restocked with tools and parts and all kinds of stuff.
And tell everybody listening what exactly that is.
So Soundcheck is a rehearsal facility here in Nashville. Mm-hmm. It's also a storage locker kind of place. And we've got a little artist showroom over there. It's just a nice little room with about 20 to 30 guitars at any given time. And artists that we work with can stop in and borrow a guitar if they need something for the weekend or a session, or if their guitar's in the shop and they need to borrow something. Taylor's really good about supporting the artists that we work with and do everything we can to help them out.
And artists that you don't work with yet, are they invited in that, or is it?
Yeah, the showroom's pretty much by appointment only.
Okay.
Because there's not always someone there.
Yeah. Sure.
But the guy that works there lives about a mile away, so he can stop in.
Soundcheck, is that the one right next to Top Golf?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Have you guys gone in there at all?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I've been there one time. That place is fascinating. So
it's pretty wild.
It's huge.
I didn't even realize that they had like a little venue on the side there one night. Maddie was playing there that night. But man, that is a lot of fun. I went with my brother-in-law and took my oldest son, and we hung out there for a couple hours just trying to hit those targets with the golf balls. It'll drive you crazy. But you have fun drinking a couple beers at the same time.
Yeah.
Not my 12-year-old son, just me.
Yeah. Makes your aim better too.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah, one night it's like, we're going to dinner at Top Golf. What?
That's right.
They have food?
No, it's a great place. It's very cool. So anyway,
Soundcheck is awesome, man. I mean, you never know who's going to be in there. Carrie Underwood was rehearsing while we were in there this week.
Okay.
Keith Urban.
I was hanging out in there one day just waiting for my tools to be delivered, and Striper was rehearsing, and they popped in. I see him looking in the window. I'm like, come on in, play some guitars.
Yeah.
It's just killer. When the lead guitarist from Striper grabs a acoustic guitar and starts playing like melodic jazz stuff.
Oh, yeah.
As good as you would ever hear.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun place to hang. There's always stuff going on there.
Now, is that a place where you guys showcase new models? I mean, what's the purpose of it?
It's just to be connected with the artists here in Nashville. I mean, it's Music City.
Yeah.
We want to have as big a presence as we can here, to have a spot like that locally where, we don't have to ship a guitar from California or...
Gotcha.
It's just convenient. There's so much happening here all the time. Mm-hmm. It's really easy and convenient for guys to just stop in and see the new stuff.
And
pick up something different.
And artists might, if they want you to do something with the guitar, they can come there and have anything done, whether they want something set up or anything.
They can do some tweaks and mods there. It's not really a full-on repair shop, but so like if you're borrowing a guitar and you go, you know what, I prefer lighter strings and lower action, you can tweak it for them. and they can hit the road
Gotcha.
and do their gigs and come back.
Yeah.
But anything heavier, they may loan them a guitar and send one to you guys.
Yeah. If it gets stepped on or
Sure.
run over by the tour bus, which
Yeah.
has happened.
Over by- are you kidding me?
No.
Can you fix
You put your
this?
guitar in the gig bag behind the bus and forget to put it on the bus before it backs
Oh
up.
man,
Yeah.
we won't even ask who that was because
Yeah.
that's an embarrassing.
I kind of want to ask who that was.
I don't know, man. So
Well, we kept the guitar in a clear plastic bag hanging in the repair shop for several years. So,
Almost like a body bag.
yeah, and the factory tour at Taylor, they'd walk by and go, "What's that? Oh, there's a story there."
Yeah.
Yes, very good story.
So what else you guys do? You guys visiting music stores while you're out here?
Yeah, we hit stores. That's a big reason why Terry's here on this trip too. Terry's the head of quality control at Taylor.
Okay.
And we always like to stop in and see how the guitars are doing, hanging on the wall, make sure there's nothing we need to be aware of,
Yeah.
see how they're holding up.
And how do they all look?
It's been really good. It's been really good. Yeah, because we, as we got into these new models and this new V-bracing we're doing, that's getting out in the world now. It's like you want to see. Part of my job, I do a lot of R&D as well, mostly R&D actually. But you want to see what's going on with the guitars. How are they moving? Where are they moving? What do the tops look like? How are the neck angles holding up? All these little things that once they get it, you do all your testing and you prove it out within, but then they get out in the world and they go through all these different climates, these different places, and you want to see how's everything working out? Is it working out as we thought it would? And I walk away from this trip going, we really nailed this one.
Oh wow! So is there any difference between the bracing with the new V brace and the old stuff?
Huge difference.
Well, but I mean, as far as the way they're reacting to the weather, or they're kind of the same, or
no, they're very different. The X brace is that those tops are going to move more. Those guitars are going to move a bit more. So this V brace, it keeps the top more stable than it has in the past, and therefore the whole guitar, from the geometry, the neck angle, everything's holding up even better than an X brace did.
really?
Yeah.
Now, why do you think that is?
Well, it's just the design of the bracing itself, how it's placed on the top,
Okay.
which is causing the top to be still resonant, still give you everything that you're expecting as acoustic player, but allowing the whole guitar to be stronger. As far as the neck angle, the top movement isn't severe with dryness or humidity.
Okay.
And, you get doing something like, and you're kind of going, well, let's let some time go by and see what happens.
Yeah.
But, it's really good when we're about a year and a half into it, when you just start looking at guitars on the walls that have been there for a year and like, wow, this is looking really good.
Doing exactly like you want.
Yeah, it's doing exactly what you thought it would. The guitars are stronger, more stable. The tops are still resonant, but they're not moving as severely, which is good for everything.
Yeah.
Your guitar's not going out of whack as easily as it would have in the past. So it's been an amazingly cool thing here, and it's nice for me to kind of look around at all these guitars on the walls and look at all the different ones, the different dates when they were built, how are they moving, where are they moving, and just walk away thinking, wow. We're pretty good here so far.
Being an R&D, I mean, you obviously are always trying to improve everything you possibly can. You guys also just rolled out within the last year like a new Satin as well, right? Or
The silent satin finish.
Silent
on
satin
the builder's
finish?
editions. Yeah.
Okay, how's that doing?
It's hugely popular. Yeah,
It's
everyone
beautiful.
loves it.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
Yeah, we've seen some of the K14s that have come in with that on it, and I'm telling you, it's a great
it's a
guitar,
very good
stunning
finish.
looking.
Really
So
It's really strong finish. It's a tough finish to apply, but it's worth it. And the response is great. It's just the look of it. There seems to be a trend overall of this more kind of vintagey kind of look on a new guitar.
but resisting to scratches. a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit
still
more.
super hard and very durable. And players love it.
Yeah. Back on the bracing, do you guys feel like you'll always have two types of bracing, or do you think in the future that we'll see going more to just V-class bracing, or is that yet to be determined?
No, there's a lot to be said for both. The X bracing, that's a tried and true classic. It's been around for a long time. We don't see any reason for it to, not still exist. So we're going to, it's still going to be in play. We're still going to be making guitars with X brace, and we're going to do a lot of other things are going to graduate to the V. And you can't sit here and say right now, well, what models, where will it all play out? Because it's one decision at a time as you get this new guitar out in the world and you learn more about it. And then you learn how the public receives it. How does it, what's the perception there? Most people, the average guy doesn't think about bracing a guitar. He picks it up and he likes it or he doesn't.
And there are a lot of models that Andy hasn't worked with yet. You can only go through kind of one at a time, so some of the models that we're still building as an X brace, we're thinking it'll probably change to V, but he hasn't built it to see if he likes it better or not yet. So it's really just going through a model at a time.
Yeah. So tonally, it can change a little bit by the bracing as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are some of the characteristics of each one?
Well, what's really nice about the V-class bracing is the guitar top doesn't move the same. Okay, it moves in a more orderly fashion, kind of rocking from left to right instead of these four quadrants that are all going. So you have more orderly overtones, because when you strum a chord on an acoustic guitar, you have the fundamentals and tons of overtones. Some of them are musical and in tune, and other ones aren't. So that's why sometimes certain chord voicings can sound kind of sour on a guitar, even if your intonation is set properly by your scale length, nut and saddle, everything's right. Some voicings you still kind of avoid because they just don't sound right, or you retune your guitar a little bit for that section of the song and then go back and record the other section.
Is it mainly the G string? Is the G string the one that just kind of like, I just remember a buddy of mine, great guitar player, he's like, you got to tune that G string just a little bit sharper and it sounds
Everyone's
better.
got their little tricks.
The G and B relationship, the thirds are the killer on a guitar, because a guitar is not a perfectly in tune instrument. A lot of people never talk about this. It's not mathematically perfect instrument. It's never perfectly in tune, whether it's electric or acoustic. And so it's a perfected art form. Just because the math, it can't play out where your thirds and your fifths and everything can just be perfectly in tune. A guitar is an imperfect instrument. So one of the biggest purposes of the V-brace was to wrestle in a lot of these overtones and harmonics that make guitars sound out of tune. That G and B string are hell for a lot of guitar players. Yeah. The combination of the two of them together, and it's a real thing. And the V-bracing, the beauty of that is it pulled a lot of overtones out, so you're getting a lot more focused notes. So when you play a chord, you're hearing more of the fundamentals together now without all these odd harmonics and overtones.
They're kind of fighting on each other.
Yeah, they're not fighting each other. It pulls it all in, and the guitar sounds more in tune to your ears. Even though scale length and mathematics-wise, when you get deep into it, a guitar is never a perfectly in tune instrument.
And you're saying the V-bracing is lending towards solving this problem a little bit more?
It helps a great deal, especially on acoustic guitars, because it's pulling all those wandering overtones out when you got this big resonating body in this volume.
Yeah. It's a different way of thinking about it. Usually when you talk about intonation, you're thinking about adjustments on a guitar. But really, it's also the sound that the guitar is making. And that's why we can say that with the V-class bracing, the guitars sound more in tune than ever. It's kind of something you need to experience, but the guys that are playing the guitars, and we're demoing a guitar, telling them what to play, say, play those voicings that you always avoid, and they play them, and they're just blown away. They're like, wow, I don't have to play different shaped chords or leave certain notes out, or retune for this section of a song. They can just play it and everything sounds beautifully in tune.
Yeah, it's not a marketing thing. It's real.
It's real.
If you sit down and play these guitars against each other, it's a very real thing.
So this is translating well then to your dealers that are selling the guitars on your showroom floors. They're using this as, they're demonstrating this.
Yes.
And it's helping sell more Taylor guitars.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it puts us into yet another market with a product that's all new in the world of guitars. And Andy Powers, came up with this idea of how to do this, and with the intention of, it wasn't all about the movement and the bracing, all this. It was really, for him, it was about how to pull these overtones and get a guitar that sounded more pleasing to the ear, more in tune. That was its main purpose in the beginning.
Now, you brought up the name Andy Powers a few times. For those people listening, tell everybody who Andy is and what his job description is, so they have a little bit of a background.
Andy's the chief designer at Taylor of the guitars at this point. He is the chief designer. It used to be Bob and Larry Breedlove used to work on that for years, with other people included. Of course, everything's about teamwork. And Andy kind of comes up with concepts and ideas. And then, people like me and others will prove it out. How's it acting? How's it behaving? How's it moving? Where's it moving? Is this going to work? Is this viable? It's like, okay, well, trash that, but this was really cool, so continue on with that part.
Yeah.
But Andy's just, he's been soaking this stuff up since he was a little kid, and even though he's in his 30s, he is a scientist of guitars. He's obsessed right down to every little, right down from practical use to the exact science of cell structure,
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he nerds out on it like a madman.
Yeah.
And so therefore he thinks differently, and he comes up with different things that a lot of people might not think of because he gets so deep into it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Now, what models have the V-Class right now? Because you were mentioning they hadn't got all the way down.
Yeah, well, we started with our most popular body shape, the Grand Auditoriums. So all of our Grand Auditoriums have it. The new slope shoulder dreadnought we call the Grand Pacific. Those models have V-Class bracing.
And that was just introduced in January, correct?
Yep, at the NAMM show. That just came out. We've gone through and done about half of the grand concerts, the smaller bodies.
Okay.
We're working through those.
Okay. And why going, well, you mentioned that the Grand Auditoriums because they were the most popular.
Yeah, we believed in this and wanted our, most of our customers, or as many as possible, to benefit from this.
Yeah.
So we start with the most popular one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's next for you guys?
What's next?
I mean, now we might have talked about this last time. Did we talk about ukuleles? Because I'm going to get sarcastic, but I got to know where I'm
It
going.
always comes up. It comes up frequently.
A couple years ago, Bob put in print in our Wood and Steel magazine that we're working on ukuleles, and they're going to be out soon. And then all this other stuff came up, and he had to address it again in print.
Whoops.
Well, I'm glad something else came up.
We had other stuff
Good.
to do, so who's he recommend? Kala?
Huh? Yeah.
Kala.
Okay.
We're friends with Kala, so he's like, if you want a good ukulele, they're killing it. Just go get that.
Well, hey,
That's
Bob.
probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bob Taylor, man. He is he's planting trees. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
What's the details on that?
Well, Andy's covering all the guitar design, and Bob loves that. He's like, let him go. He's a better guitar builder than I ever was. So it kind of takes that burden off of Bob. And then, Bob is saving the world one tree at a time, I guess.
Man, I guess so.
Yeah, and he works harder than he ever has. He's got that obsession, and he's never going to give in and never going to stop. I mean, he'll outwork everybody to this day.
Yeah.
He keeps going to
Cameroon. The Ebony
Cameroon.
Mill in Cameroon. He goes there a lot. He's doing everything he can to use the ebony that they're procuring. Buck Knives is using a lot of the ebony now for their knife handles. You see the solid ebony knife handles.
Man, I love knives.
They're doing that.
We got to look
kitchen
into the
products.
Buck Knives.
Yeah, we've got the kitchen products, a side business called Stella Falone. And currently we have really high-end cutting boards that are solid ebony on each side, and then the core section is sapele or mahogany. Really beautiful high-end cutting boards. You can get them on Amazon.com right now.
Now, what's the name?
Stella Falone is the name of that, and it's meant to be a kitchenware company. So later on, you're going to see other kitchenware products, nice high-end ebony
pepper grinders and all kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, that's kind of fun.
I kind of almost want them to say like Taylor pepper grinders, but I guess not.
And the purpose was we have to find more things to make out of ebony. You know, you have a mill, you own this company, and you can't leave this precious wood just sitting on the on the floor. You have to find ways to use it. A lot of it can't be used for guitars. So what am I going to do? So we started designing walls. You know, some of these beautiful walls you've seen. We've designed some beautiful walls that can be put up in restaurants or buildings. It's just stuff that we're thinking about, and then developing kitchen products.
Oh, that's cool.
So every day is another thought of, what about this? What about that?
We've got some really nice guitar hangers made out of ebony. You can go out to the dealers and see them now. The dealers that have a Taylor room or Taylor wall. A nice kind of elongated ebony piece with an inlay on it.
And what's the inlay?
It kind of mimics the inlays from the guitars. The ones that are in the dealers now, it's kind of a wavy cross pattern that's mother of pearl. It's the most beautiful guitar hanger you've ever seen.
Wow.
So that's a product that'll be available to consumers once we get through installing them in all the dealers that have those walls.
Wow, that's cool.
It's entertaining some days because of my buddy Dave that I work with in R&D and a lot of things. He builds a lot of the initial things that Bob thinks of in kitchenware and things like that.
And then the slides.
He's a machinist.
We make ebony slides. They're in dealers now.
Yeah.
Ebony slides.
Ebony slides,
Yeah, we're selling really well too.
Yeah.
But Dave, I always joke because I go, it's like, did you ever think your career at Taylor Guitars would be making kitchenware?
Kitchenware, that's great. Pretty soon you'll be making kitchen cabinets.
So what do you do there? Kitchen products.
So we got that.
And guitars.
Well, always thinking, man.
Bob's also, he's working on making sure that there's guitar grade wood available to builders 100 years from now.
Yeah.
So he'll never see a return on this.
Yeah, because
he's planting koa trees in Hawaii.
Yep.
They're working on better maple with Pacific Rim tone woods, and planting those in the Northwest.
Yeah. Now, I heard a podcast that you guys do. So tell everybody, what's the podcast name that Taylor puts out?
From the Factory.
From the Factory.
It's like, I always want to say from the warehouse.
Yeah,
from the factory.
From the Factory. It's a very good podcast. I listened to one where Bob was talking about, I guess he bought some property in Hawaii and planted a ton of trees. And I can't remember, maybe you can correct me. He said in a certain amount of time, I think it was 40 years, you'll be able to produce enough wood to supply the guitar industry in Koa. Is that what he said, or do you remember?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Well, go listen to the podcast if you're hearing it. Just to make sure I'm not making stuff up.
That's his focus. It really is. He's just...
That's the intention. Sure. It's more about leaving something really good for the future than what you can necessarily do right now. He's thinking along after he's dead, what I have to leave. So he's working on far into the future every single day.
Wow. From the impression of what I was hearing from him, he said, I want to make enough for the whole guitar industry. And I thought that was cool because he's not just saying we're going to hoard this stuff, but he's going to share things and everybody working together. And he goes, we're going to have plenty for our guitars and we're going to have enough for the whole industry. I thought that was commemorable.
Bob has been one of those different people over the years that was very welcoming to everybody else, and he wanted everybody to do well. He wanted to help everybody do well. We never had that mentality for a day. I mean, I remember
awesome.
when Martin wanted to get into the Fidels and the CNC machines, and Bob goes, "We'll just fly out here and I'll teach you how to do it." So 3 guys came out for a week. He goes, "I'll show you exactly how to use these machines, how to do it," And that's, and people would go, "Why are you doing that?" It's like, it's good for all of us.
We
That's
need
why I
more
do it.
of that.
Yeah,
we need more of
I
that in the
agree
music
with that.
industry.
Yeah, he was always that way, generous with his time and his knowledge. There wasn't this secrets kind of thing.
It hasn't hurt Taylor
It's like, it's
one
going to
bit.
be good for all of us.
Yes.
And people would just shake their head and walk away. It's like, I can't believe this guy. So
Yeah, not like a
but
company.
you know what?
Yeah.
It proved itself out.
Well, a company like Taylor makes a great guitar, but you have to be supportive of other people that can make great guitars as well. And why not join together and be supportive?
Everybody
makes
out there
sense,
gets better guitars.
Yeah.
That's good for everybody.
That's right.
Well, it's kind of like in sports, you need competition. Back when I was a kid, the Lakers needed the Celtics, and Taylor needs Martin, and Martin needs Taylor, and Gibson needs Fender, and Fender needs
They do.
Gibson.
It's good for all of us.
So we all need each other. I was at a NAMM show a few years ago, and somebody was bashing one of the major companies, and I was kind of bummed out because I was like, half your catalog, you're ripping off their body style.
Yeah.
So we all need each other. We all need to work together. We all need to help each other, and it doesn't hurt anybody.
No.
It's good for everybody.
And what a lot of people don't realize, behind the scenes, there's that facade of, this us against them and this whole thing. But a lot of people don't realize behind the scenes, when you get down to the shop floor, a lot of us are friends with these other guys in the companies. It's like, we're dealing with this. How are you guys handling this?
Yeah.
Or they'll call us, okay, this has become a nightmare.
Or they want to
for us.
buy a
What-
guitar
what-
because they like your guitars.
Yeah.
And you like their guitars because they're all cool.
Yeah.
They're all fun.
I mean,
right?
we actually help each other. Everybody's open to helping each other.
Absolutely.
If Chris Martin comes into San Diego, he comes over and says, sees Bob, says hi, and they walk around, go have lunch.
Well, that's cool. That's neat.
Yeah, it's a friendly thing, and it's a nice feeling to have that. That's a good thing.
They both sell a lot of
The
guitars.
sales guys are probably the ones that are, they're the ones probably duking it out. But behind the scenes, we're like, we're all friends.
Yeah, but all the sales guys play guitar too, so they love them all too.
Yeah, it's
They do.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. But anyways, I really had another level of admiration for Bob when he was talking about some of the things like buying land and planting trees and doing a lot of that, and I think it's pretty cool. So out here in Nashville, you guys are also going to go later today to a repairman's place, John Levan. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people know who John is out there, and tell us what you're going to do out there.
We're just going to visit John. We've been working with him forever as a certified Taylor repairman. Several years ago, John started training guitar techs. He's got guitar services where guys can come out and learn how to refret a guitar and do all these kind of repairs. Anything from like an 8-day boot camp to a 6-week restoration.
Wow.
kind of classes. So we got involved with him on that. Got him some guitars, and some supplies, and when we're in town and the class is going on, we'll stop in and do a little Taylor section with him. So he's not far from here. We're in the neighborhoods. We're just going to swing by and say hey.
Yeah, 15, 20 minutes down the road.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's still doing lots of repair work. He's a great contact for us here in the Nashville area.
Yeah.
And anyone out there that wants to learn how to do setups and fret work and repairs themselves should look him up. He's a
It's
great
John
instructor.
Levan. Yep.
He's got a great reputation.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever heard was good
He
things.
does, and he's a published author on guitar repair. He's got some
Yeah.
Elbay books. He's done a lot of stuff with Diodario and Premier Guitar Magazine.
Yeah.
So is he doing a class right now? That's why
He's
you're going out there?
No,
Or no?
no. Well, we're just going to stop by and see him.
Very cool.
Bug him for a few minutes.
Yep, just old friends.
Yeah.
Have lunch. Eat a little bit because
Yeah.
you
I'm
guys.
starving.
Boy, we've done that a lot this week.
Yeah, I was gonna say eating is
I mean,
like
so
one of the
much
pastimes
food.
around here.
I bet you guys eat enough when you're out here for like a week You don't have to eat for like another week when you get back, huh?
Eat for 2 days when you get back.
So Glenn, when we were on the way here, I said I don't want to eat for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, we did start the day at Loveless, so
Yes.
This
we all
morning
filled
did.
up this morning.
Yep.
Yeah,
That was good. It was
My
good
first time
fellowship.
there, it was really good. Biscuits were incredible.
So let's talk barbecue, because every time I know when you come to town, it always seems like you're at a barbecue joint.
Barbecue, catfish, hot chicken. All the good
Glenn
stuff
has
that we
this-
can't get in San Diego.
He has this strong constitution where he can just eat that way every day, and everybody else is going, enough. I can't do any more.
So where have you guys gone?
Oh man, we started at Edley's first day.
I don't know what that is. See, I
Edley's-
live in Nashville, and I don't even know
Edley's
what
barbecue, great barbecue, great catfish. Then we went to Bolton's hot chicken. We had,
that is. Could you handle it?
oh yeah.
Have you met a hot chicken?
I don't go for the
That you
extreme lava heat burn.
Yeah, I
you
don't
know?
understand that whole thing
That's-
where people want to be sweating when they're
No.
eating food. I don't get that.
I
at
like
all.
I like some heat, but I don't want to suffer.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
went to Party Fowl for the first time yesterday.
What was the other peg leg?
Peg leg porker.
Went there.
We try to hit all the hot spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard of any of these?
No.
I've never. They're hot spots.
No.
I've never heard of
Yeah, they
them.
are.
My goodness.
I
guys
think
gotta
if
get out
you-
of
barbecuing kind of
Well,
week.
I think if you own a place, you don't tell the locals. You just get in like travel magazine
so.
or something like that,
Yeah.
so people
all the
will
out
see
of
it.
towners come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, read the Nashville Scene magazine. Keep it.
Yes, I guess that's it. That's it
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
So, well,
Hey, let's talk about it.
What about that, man?
Yeah, I guess it was at and Glenn, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in at the winter show, you had an invention that came to light, and that's the strap locks, right?
Yeah, well, I came up with an idea to have a strap lock adapter for acoustic guitars because so many players want to put strap locks on their acoustic just like you do on an electric. But the problem you have at that jack end of the guitar, you kind of have to drill a hole into the tail block and add a strap lock button if you want to use strap locks. And of course, a lot of people with nice guitars don't really want to drill a hole in it. So I came up with a few designs that kind of take the place of the jack cap. Like if you got a Fishman or Bags system, that decorative cap that your strap hooks to, you unthread that and thread this invention on, and it's kind of got a strap lock button that's offset from the jack itself. So you can use strap locks on your acoustic without modifying your guitar.
It's one of those things when you see it, you go, "How come somebody didn't think of this 20 years ago?"
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought, surely someone must have already thought of this, but they didn't.
Glenn was like, "I've been drunk for the last 20 years. I don't know what you're talking about." No, seriously.
No, it's
But
great.
It's a great invention that when I sit there and watch, I looked at it, I was like, man, this is a great piece.
Yeah.
So who's
Well, thanks.
distributing it? Who's selling it?
Well, I'm working with Music Nomad. It's a great accessories company. They do all kinds of polishes and guitar tech tools and stuff for consumers also. They got the best string winders and truss rod wrenches, all kinds of stuff. So I was working with those guys on some stuff with Taylor and really liked them a lot and kind of pitched this idea to them, and they loved it. So we've been working on it for a couple years, and it's finally ready to go. It's going to start showing up in stores by the end of the month.
really?
Yeah. So it's called.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks, appreciate it. So look them up, Music Nomad. The product is called Acousti-Lok.
Acousti-Lok.
Yeah, there's 3 versions. There's one that works on standard threads, like Fishman uses and Switchcraft jacks. There's a metric thread version for LR Bags. It's like the biggest, one of the biggest retro
see one of
companies. Yeah,
I hadn't actually
we got
seen
some
the box
packaging.
yet.
And then there's one also specifically for Taylors that have the 9-volt expression system battery box because that's a totally different style of
So
jack.
how can we get Uncle Bob Taylor to put these on every guitar over there at Taylor?
Oh man, I'd love that.
How do we get that?
Old
done?
Uncle Bob, huh?
Yeah, I'm calling him Uncle Bob now. Terry, can you make this happen? You seem like the man.
Yeah. It seems like an R&D situation,
Yeah, I
right?
think it does, man. I think we're talking 2020 right here.
Yeah.
I'd love it. No,
Yeah.
that's actually the last thing any guitar manufacturer wants to do is add something in every case.
Yeah.
to sell a guitar. But they're out there, Bob digs it. He's got Bob's blessing. He's like, man,
Oh,
that's
good.
cool, man.
Yeah. I bet she's kind of proud of you, huh?
Yeah, man, these are great.
That's cool. Everybody should have one.
What's the retail price on these?
$20 to $25.
Just depending on the connection.
Yeah. The style for Fishman and bags and those kind is $20. The Taylor ones, a little more intricate designs, $25. We designed them to work with shallow strap locks. So, you still need to get a set of shallow strap locks, put them on your strap, and replace the pin that's on your neck heel.
Gotcha.
But the really cool thing is that you're not modifying your guitar. You can take this off at any time. And if you're using strap locks on all your straps anyhow for your electric guitars and everything else, now you don't have to have a particular strap married to one guitar. You can use all your straps on all your guitars. Make sure it matches your shirt for the gig and that kind of thing.
That's important.
Right.
That's important.
That is important.
I guess as a drummer,
especially when you're a guitar player, you don't wear a
drummer.
shirt.
You're like, I don't give a crap.
Well, actually, we were just at a guitar show this past weekend, and I have to admit, man, I was impressed at how many people are still trying to improve aspects of the guitar. So we just met a couple people, and somebody comes up with an idea like this, and man, they buy some tools, they go into their garage and they mill some stuff on their own, or they create some stuff on their own. And next thing you know, you're like, this is cool. People are still trying to do this.
It's never ending, man.
It is amazing to me as a builder how many things on a guitar that over all these years have not been perfected or worked out yet. It amazes me just in daily life, because I'm a guitar-aholic.
Yeah.
As far as just it's 24/7 for me. That's been my whole life. And I buy them, I fix them, I work on them, I modify them, and it's amazing how many things on a guitar just haven't really been perfected to the point they can be. Within large manufacturing, I just think, man, there's still a long way to go on making guitars better.
Do you think people are thinking too far in advance? That they're thinking of big changes and they're not thinking of small incremental changes.
I think that you tend to get, what drives a company is coming up with new models and new finishes and new ways of selling the same thing.
Yeah.
And, especially when you get out there in the electric world.
Yeah.
Look at how many Tellys and Strats there are now that didn't exist 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So you get those things that have to drive sales and drive a company, but you can't forget to look at all the details that make up the guitar that make it better in the first place. Mm. And luckily with us, there's a definite balance of both things going on at the same time. We're always looking at all the intricacies of the geometry and how a guitar reacts, how it pulls in, how it behaves. What does it look like 10 years from now? What are the things you constantly deal with and repair that we can make go away? Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stuff that we think about all the time. All this stuff that's constantly coming in based on the past, based on how guitars have been the last 150 years, we need to make all that go away. We need to have a whole room full of Maytag repairmen, And so guys like me are super focused on those types of things.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to be done, and not just for us, everybody out there.
I'm curious on electric guitars. What's one thing that you think could really improve?
Really improve the sound out of fretboards across the board, with so many companies, especially bass necks, especially when you start getting into bass necks. It's just so many imperfect techniques and things when I look down necks, because that's an obsessive thing for guys like us. When you're looking in stores, whether it's a Strat, Tele, Les Paul, 80 versions of each or whatever, you just look down them and go, there's just so much that people aren't getting here still to this day.
Yeah.
And so much room for improvement. And then you got a few companies that are really good at nailing it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of us great guitar players, we think that
How did he include himself in a great guitar? You think I'm going to let that pass?
That's pretty good.
Man, my BS meter's like...
I was good. That's what I was point. I was like, "That's great guitar."
I'm getting
players,
a little
but
mad.
The tone, the tone comes out of the fingers, you know.
He got you too, didn't he?
Man, that didn't even make it 2.3 seconds there.
No, man.
Well,
I'm used to you sitting across from me where it takes me a minute to get to it. Go ahead. I'll be quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're saying necks. You're necks and everything.
Us great guitar players.
Next, the stability of necks, how they pull, where they pull, the standouts, all these things. There's so much room for improvement.
Yeah. Well, why do you think it's taking so long to do that or to make the appropriate changes?
I ask myself that all the time. I'll look at things in tried and true ways, or maybe this company's been doing this way for 50 years, and it's just how they do it. It is what it is. People accept it, selling like crazy. But I just think, why is nobody raising their hand going, I got a way better way to do this?
Yeah.
How much of it do you think is the culture of the company? Because I know from you guys, you said you've been there, 32 years?
Close, coming up.
And Glenn, you've been there 21?
21, yeah.
And so it seems like, and I'm just spitballing right here, that it feels like the people in your guys' company have been there for a long time. So maybe it's been you have so much tenure there that you can have these conversations. Where I know a lot of companies, if you blink, somebody's gone and somebody else is in, and you don't have time to get your feet wet and then get involved in it. But you guys appear to have a culture of people where now your conversations can say, hey, let's make this better. Let's do something, because you're comfortable with each other. You know how your brains think, and you're you're not afraid to get canned and off to the next guy. Because I mean, seriously, with all the brands that we work with, man, I was talking with someone the other day.
On the head there.
One guy that we've talked with. He's now with his fourth company in the last handful of years. And so how can companies really be inventive when they're afraid to lose their job? They're afraid to go on. So I feel like maybe that's part of why you guys can dive into that and get serious, because you're not worried about it. You guys are into doing the guitar right and doing things, and that's your focus.
No, it's like we can say what's on our mind. We can say anything we like. It might get shot down. It might be a great idea on any given day, but we put a super high value on the guitar guys. It's like we're guitar guys, and we're hanging on to guitar guys because we've lived it, we've absorbed it our whole life. It's in our DNA. We think different. We see things different. And we're obsessive about it. And that's a really good thing to have, rather than something totally unrelated. We have a real high value on that.
It'd be interesting. I mean, being at Taylor for so long, we haven't worked for the other companies. So to feel what that's like, it's still a bit of a mystery. We can all have our ideas, But yeah, Bob really respects Terry, and a lot of what Terry does, he'll look at guitars coming off the line, and no one's complaining about something, but he's going, I don't like what I'm seeing here,
but
so I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it before someone has a chance to complain about something.
Yeah.
So that kind of, and when he says something, it's like, well, Terry says we can make it better, so he's going to figure out how, and we're going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's
embraced.
It seems
and
like
it comes from
culture.
the top down.
Yeah.
Bob really likes that.
Yeah.
He likes it and appreciates that. So you don't have to be worried. If you see an issue, we want to hear about
Address the issue.
Yeah, let's figure it out. If we can do something better, we certainly want to.
Yeah, it's
always
like
improving.
like with Nashville with the artists. It's funny, there's an artist relationship thing that crosses over to what you guys are talking about. We'll sit down with them in the room. We're talking about guitars or electronics or whatever. We're like, so tell us what you don't like, and they get kind of awkward. Because it's like,
I don't want to say anything.
I have this relationship with these guys.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything bad. Now going, come on. I want the dirt. Give me the dirt. What don't you like? And it takes a while for them to just drop down their guard and go, well, I was noticing It's like I want to hear all this.
Yeah,
this
sure.
is the stuff that drives improvement. You guys just saying everything's great all the time doesn't give me anything to go on.
Yeah.
And if it's all that great, hey, cool. Mm-hmm. That's a great thing.
And it might be great for them, but you still, obviously you still want to hear feedback.
The culmination of all these people's information and their critiques, that's what drives a lot of improvement out in the world. You need that feedback. I want to hear the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
No, that's cool. I'm glad you guys are that way, because I have seen a huge difference in probably the last 20 years of Taylor guitars.
Yeah.
Because I came from, in retail, a strong Martin background.
Yeah.
And truthfully, at the time, I didn't really like Taylor guitars, just because probably I was so biased. Because I like Fords. Some people like Chevy.
That's right.
We're all that way.
Yeah.
But the more that I got to know and got to see and got to be around, I was like, wait a second, we're onto something here. These are very clean, well-built, great guitars. This is more than what I thought. And over the last 20 years, like I said, and it could be longer, I'm just referencing that.
Yeah.
And I could see how much better they're getting. Then I'm going, oh, okay. This isn't the same old guitar in my mind as 20 years ago. And with what you guys are talking about, I can see why now, because you guys are addressing things. You are looking at everything, and you are perfecting those different areas. So I think it's pretty cool. So.
And maybe even, what year did Taylor start?
74.
Well, that's a little bit longer than I thought, but and you might have, I think some of you might have touched on it earlier, that maybe sometimes guitar companies are just trying to sell what they had a long time ago. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel or get better, because hey, this 59 version of this is what people want. This 58 is, or this 65 is what people want. Where well, in 74, you come a little later, man, you got the skies is wide open to you. You guys can improve and build and bring new things out, and I think people expect that of Taylor.
Yeah, it took a long time for the company to get known, to get themselves in the door, get people buying your product. I mean, that was the first 14 years of Bob's life. That was not fun and not easy, but perseverance, that a lot of people would have just said, forget this, but he's not that guy. He doesn't give up or give in to anything or anybody.
Yeah. Where did Bob build his first guitar?
San Diego.
San Diego? Well, is this a situation where he built it out of his garage, or what was the very beginning story?
Beginning stories, interesting.
American Dream.
Actually,
American Dream Music
thinking
Shop.
Even before that, when Bob was a kid, and a guy who I'm friends with, Mike Brower, tells his story. He was a San Diego musician who lives out here in Tennessee now. But Mike was a few years older than Bob, and he had a band rehearsing in his garage. And Bob was like, hey, I want to play guitar. That looks pretty cool. So Mike sold him a guitar that was pretty unplayable because the action was so high. And,
he's not a very good friend, is he?
Well, man, the story is a good one. So Bob gets it and realizes he can't play it. So he's like, how am I going to fix this thing so I can play it? So he cut the neck off and screwed it back onto the body at a different angle, so the guitar was playable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, it really wasn't playable when he got it.
Yeah, so he fixed it. You know? And I guess he just always had that kind of tinkering kind of thing. He wanted to figure out how things work and take them apart and put them back together. So that's going way back, but that's I guess that's how it started.
Yeah, and the one thing a lot of people don't know about Bob is he was thinking about tooling as much or more than guitars, because he was winning little awards in school for little machining and little tooling things he would do, So he was thinking about his machines and tooling as much or more than he was the guitars. It was kind of like, an engineering kind of mind.
Absolutely.
Applying it to guitars. So, yeah.
Well, very cool.
Yeah.
Some people are wired that way, and I'm very grateful, because if we didn't have guys like that around, we would not have some of the coolest things in this world. So
absolutely.
It's good to have inventors like Matt Macpherson from Macpherson Guitars. I heard a long time, because I'm into archery, so I bow hunt.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
he built the Matthews bow, which is an iconic bow, and he talked about the limbs, how one day he's going to make parallel limbs and beyond parallel, and at the time they were not, and people were saying, well, what do you mean? And he goes, in 6-8 years this is how it's gonna look. And he goes, well, why are you gonna do that? And he goes, because if I do it now, it's gonna shock everybody. So every year he got a little bit, they got squattier and squattier and squattier until they became what he wanted. And it was kind of interesting, because he was that way. He didn't have a degree in engineering, but he had that engineer mind that you're talking about, and he's seen the future, and he's seen what he can do. But we weren't ready. The customer wasn't ready, and he had to slowly bring us to the table. And you look at his stuff today, and it's amazing. And so thankfully guys like Macpherson and Bob Taylor, and the list goes on and on, they're out there, because I'm not that smart.
a quick great story for you. Matt Gazeta, an old friend of Bob's that worked for us for years, an engineer, he designed this ridiculously cool bow back many, many, many years ago. And it was so good that one of the huge companies, won't name names, wanted it, and they gave him, some hundreds of thousands of dollars to have this.
Wow.
And he's like, okay, I'm not going to produce it, so okay, we'll work out a deal. And they shelved it.
Really?
Rather than release it, they shelved it. And now, you start to see signs of this thing out there, but Matt's bow is used in Rambo.
Oh, really?
Is it really?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's in the Rambo movies.
Ah. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
I need to go back and watch that movie.
Look it up.
Well, if it's not on Netflix,
speaking
I'm
of
not
archery,
watching it right now.
No, that's
kind
cool.
of a Taylor story, kind of not.
Yeah, that's kind of
very
cool.
cool.
No, but it's great to not have to always pay homage to something that was done 30, 40 years ago at Taylor.
Correct.
And I think since it was always continued improvement from the very beginning, the Taylor customer expects, new ideas and things from the company. They don't want us to just build the guitar that we built in 1980 over and over and over again.
Yeah, sure.
So they're into it. So it's nice to not be tied to something like that, and can always be looking ahead.
Yeah.
As
making
innovators.
things.
Yeah.
You guys ever make something that you go, yeah, we're not taking this to public? Or do you not let it get that far?
There's things like that just don't get that far.
There's
we
cool
focus on
stuff,
things
man,
we can do.
that the market's not ready for, or we're not ready to produce it.
Like
we don't wanna
8-string
go there
banjos or
nylon string
That's
banjo.
not ready for, not ready yet.
Well,
there's a difference
there's a big
there.
difference.
Well,
This is a not ready, period.
Like a lot of companies, we have some really cool things that we're going to do in the future, that right now we're not going to talk about it. But we have some pretty cool stuff that we're going to do that's very different in the next couple years, and keep taking it up another level.
Hopefully the 8-string banjo wasn't one of them. And I
No,
you guys.
It is not. It's not a
done
banjo.
yet? I'm ready to go back to San Diego.
I wrote that one
Greg
down.
Deering's right down the street.
You
Let's leave
wrote
that
it
to
down?
him.
All right. Well, we'll be excited to hear what those things are when the timing is
Yeah.
right. So, but guys, we really appreciate it, man. We love hanging out with you. We wish we could see you guys all the time, but you live on the other side of the United States. But
Hey, man, we'll be back in a couple months.
Well, I was going to say,
Alright.
we're glad you guys love Nashville, so you guys can come in.
Well, and we
looking
have
for
some
an
barbecue
excuse.
places that are not famous that we'd like to take you to.
We need to change our flights and stay a few more days.
Yeah, really.
yeah, absolutely.
Talking guitars is an obsession. That's fun. That's just fun for life.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if they're in here in a couple months, we need to have them on just again, so we
absolutely.
can keep talking about guitars. So, but guys, we appreciate it, man. Hey, have safe travels heading
Thanks.
back
Yes,
home.
always
And
appreciate it.
Say hello to John today for us when
Yes,
you see
thank you.
him,
We will.
and we
Yeah.
appreciate that a ton. So, hey, and
Congratulations on your invention.
On the Acousti-Lok.
That's,
Acousti-Lok.
that's amazing.
Acousti-Lok, Music Nomad.
We'll put that in the notes and get that out there.
Say it
It's
5
awesome
times.
stuff.
yeah,
Man.
we appreciate it. So,
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
bet.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
The Music Retail Show.